Captain Tay stood on the bridge of the stellar horizon, his four eyes fixed on the small blue planet that appeared on the main screen. The ship hung in space, just beyond the orbit of what the natives called their moon. After 50 years of deep space exploration, the Galactic Council had finally detected intelligent life signals from this uncharted solar system. "Final approach complete, Captain," reported Officer June, her delicate fingers dancing across the control panel. Her antennae twitched slightly, a sign of excitement among her people. "Begin full planetary scan," ordered Tay. "Let's see what kind of civilization we're dealing with." The bridge crew worked in silence as data streamed in. Tay noticed the growing look of confusion on his science officer's face. "Something wrong, June?" She turned to him, her expression a mixture of amusement and disbelief. "Sir, preliminary scans show the dominant species is unusual. They appear to be bipedal mammals with almost no natural defenses." "Explain," said Tay, moving to her station. "They have no claws, no scales, minimal physical strength compared to most council races, and they're almost completely hairless except for patches on their heads. Their sensory abilities are quite poor. They can't see in the dark, their hearing range is limited, and their sense of smell is extremely weak." Commander Day, the Vraxian military liaison assigned to the expedition, let out a laugh. His scaled skin shimmered under the bridge lights as he joined them at the science station. "Are you certain they're the dominant species?" asked Dee. "Perhaps they're the pets of the actual intelligent life forms." "No, Commander," said June. "Their artificial satellites and radio signals confirm they're the civilization we detected. They call themselves humans." Day shook his head in disbelief. "Hairless apes playing with technology. The universe never ceases to amaze me." Captain Tay studied the images more carefully. The humans had constructed cities, developed flight, and even managed to place a small orbital station around their planet. Primitive by council standards, but impressive for such physically limited creatures. "We should make contact," Tay decided. "Standard first contact protocols. Target their orbital station. It will be easier than dealing with their planetary governments immediately." The crew prepared the communication systems while Tay composed himself. First contacts were historic moments. No matter how unimpressive these creatures seemed, they deserved the respect of proper diplomatic procedure. Sacy. Screens flickered, and suddenly they were face to face with 3 humans aboard their space station. The humans' eyes widened in shock, but to their credit they maintained their composure. "I am Captain Tay of the Galactic Council vessel, Stellar Horizon," he said, as the translation systems converted his words to the humans' language. "We come in peace and friendship." The humans introduced themselves and responded with diplomatic greetings. Despite their initial shock, they seemed almost eager to meet alien life. They had no idea how pathetic they appeared to the advanced species before them. Later that evening, Captain Tay reported to the full Galactic Council. Representatives from the 37 member species watched the data feeds with varying degrees of interest. "As you can see," Tay explained, "the species has managed to achieve basic space travel despite their physical limitations. They call their planet Earth." Commander Day couldn't contain himself. "Honorable Council members, these creatures are barely more than clever animals. Their bodies are weak, their technology primitive. They have no natural armor, no claws, not even sufficient fur to protect themselves from their environment. They require artificial coverings just to survive mild temperature variations." The council chamber filled with laughter as Day continued his assessment. "Their bones break easily. Their skin tears at the slightest impact. They tire quickly. Their reproduction is inefficient. Frankly, I'm amazed they've survived long enough to develop any technology at all. Their planet must be a paradise for such weak beings to have avoided extinction." Council Leader Bin raised her hand for silence. "Despite Commander Day's assessment, our protocols are clear. We will extend the standard invitation for this species to send representatives to the Galactic Assembly. It is their right as a spacefaring civilization, however primitive." Captain Tay nodded in agreement. The humans seemed quite excited about the possibility of meeting other species. They readily accepted our invitation to send a delegation. "Good," said Bin. "We will prepare suitable accommodations for them in the developing species sector. Make sure their environmental needs are properly met. As the meeting concluded, Tay couldn't help but wonder about these strange creatures. How had such physically vulnerable beings managed to become the dominant species on their planet? There must be something they were missing. Commander Day approached him as they left the council chamber. "Do you think they'll actually survive the journey to the assembly? They seem so fragile." "They've surprised us by existing at all," Tay replied. "Perhaps they'll surprise us again." Day laughed. "I doubt it, but at least they'll provide some entertainment for the assembly. I can't wait to see these hairless apes try to navigate galactic politics." The diplomatic team prepared for the humans' arrival, setting up special quarters with adjusted gravity and atmosphere. None of them expected much from these creatures, but protocol demanded they be treated with the basic respect afforded to all new species. What no one yet understood was that the planet designated as Earth had secrets that would soon change. Everything the Council thought they knew about evolution, survival, and the true meaning of strength. The 5 humans stepped off their transport ship and into the massive docking bay of the Galactic Assembly Station. Dr. Han, the team leader, blinked under the bright lights. The space was filled with creatures of all shapes and sizes. Some had 6 limbs, others moved on wheels, and a few seemed to float above the ground. "Stay close," Dr. Han told his team. "Remember your training." The human delegation included Dr. Han, physicist; Jin, security officer; Sun, biologist; Hana, diplomat; and Q, engineer. They had trained for 6 months after first contact, learning about alien cultures and protocols. Still, nothing could have prepared them for the reality of standing among so many different species. A tall, thin alien with blue skin approached them. "I am Assistant Supervisor Mina. Welcome to the Galactic Assembly. I will show you to your quarters." As they followed Mina through the station, the humans noticed other aliens stopping to stare at them. Some pointed, others whispered to their companions. A group of scaled beings that looked similar to Commander Day laughed openly as they passed. "What are they saying?" asked Hana quietly. "They are surprised by your appearance," Mina replied without emotion. "Many find your lack of fur or scales unusual. Here we are." She stopped at a door marked with strange symbols. Inside was a small living area with 5 sleeping pods. "These are Tier 3 accommodations for developing species," Mina explained. "The atmosphere and gravity have been adjusted to match your home planet's conditions." Jin frowned. "Tier 3? "Yes. There are 5 tiers in the assembly. Tier 1 is for founding species, Tier 5 for observers only. You have been classified as Tier 3, limited technological capability, single-planet civilization. After settling in, the humans were led to the assessment chamber. All new species underwent standardized testing to measure their capabilities. "Physical assessment first," announced the examiner, a bulky creature with metallic skin. "Please remove your outer coverings." The humans hesitated, then removed their jackets, remaining in their fitted bodysuits. "All coverings," the examiner repeated. Dr. Han explained human modesty customs, and after some discussion they were allowed to keep their bodysuits. The tests began with strength measurements. Jin, the strongest human, could only lift half of what was considered average for most council species. The aliens took notes, their expressions clearly showing disappointment. Next came endurance testing. The humans were asked to run on a treadmill until exhaustion. To everyone's surprise, they continued far longer than expected. Jin ran for 2 hours before the examiners stopped the test. "Curious," said one examiner. "Poor strength, but unexpected." Endurance. The cognitive tests showed similar results. The humans performed well in problem-solving, pattern recognition, and adaptability. Dr. Han solved complex equations faster than many Tier 2 species. Still, the examiners seemed unimpressed overall. Later that day, the humans were brought before the full council for formal introduction. Hundreds of representatives from various species watched from tiered seating in the grand chamber. Council leader Bin welcomed them with practiced diplomacy. "The Galactic Council recognizes the representatives of planet Earth. You may address the assembly." Dr. Han stepped forward. "Esteemed council members, We are honored to join this gathering of species. Humans are young in space travel, but we have a rich history of overcoming challenges. Our planet has faced ice ages, massive volcanic eruptions, asteroid impacts, and countless natural disasters. Yet through cooperation, innovation, and determination, we have survived and thrived. Commander Day's loud laugh echoed through the chamber. All planets have challenges, human. You speak as if yours is unique. Hannah, the diplomat, replied calmly. Our Earth has seen 5 mass extinction events, where over 75% of all species died. Humans evolved despite these conditions. Exaggerations, Day dismissed. Your weak bodies tell the true story. No species, from a truly harsh world, would evolve without natural armor or effective weapons. Dr. Han noticed Science Counselor Yuna watching them with interest rather than amusement. Her silver eyes seemed thoughtful, evaluating. Commander Day approached the human delegation after the session. His scaled skin glistened under the lights as he towered over them. To prove my point about your species' weakness, I challenge you to a series of physical competitions. Unless you fear embarrassment, Jin stepped forward. We accept your challenge. The news spread quickly through the assembly. The next day, a large crowd gathered to watch the competitions between the humans and representatives from various council species. The first test was weight-bearing. Jin stood opposite a Vraxian soldier as increasingly heavy discs were placed on their shoulders. The Vraxian could hold more, but Jin lasted far longer than anyone expected. Next came temperature endurance. Participants had to remain in a chamber. As the heat slowly increased, most council species retreated quickly. Jin and Sun remained until the Vraxian judge called a stop, concerned for their safety. How are they still conscious in such heat? Someone asked. So their bodies are releasing water through their skin, observed Science Counselor Yuna. Some kind of cooling system. The final test was a maze run with changing environmental conditions. The humans completed it efficiently, their problem-solving abilities allowing them to adapt quickly to new challenges. Though they didn't win every contest, the humans performed far better than expected. As the events concluded, Science Counselor Yuna approached Dr. Han. Your species is intriguing, she said. Your planet must be more complex than our initial scans suggested. Earth is beautiful, but dangerous, Dr. Han replied. Perhaps you should visit and see for yourself. Yuna nodded slowly. Perhaps we should. There is clearly more to these hairless apes than meets the eye. Science Counselor Yuna looked out of the viewport as her research vessel approached the blue planet. After the surprising performance of the humans at the Galactic Assembly, the Council had approved her expedition to study Earth firsthand. Beginning. Atmospheric entry, announced Pilot Minho. The gravity readings are unusual. It's 1.3 times standard. That's quite strong. Yuna felt the increased weight as they descended. The ship's compensators struggled to adjust. No wonder they have such dense muscle tissue, she murmured. Growing up in this gravity would build significant strength. The research. Team of 12 scientists represented various council species. They had prepared for Earth conditions, but theory was different from experience. Temperature readings are bizarre, reported researcher Jin, checking the instruments. The northern region is below freezing, while areas near the equator approach. Cooking temperatures. How can one planet have such extremes? The ship landed in a designated area, a flat plain the humans called Kansas. A small group of Earth scientists waited to greet them. As the airlock opened, the alien researchers gasped collectively. The air was thick with oxygen, nearly 21%, dangerously close to combustible levels on most habitable worlds. Their breathing. Equipment had to filter it to safer levels. Welcome to Earth, said Dr. Han, the same physicist who had represented humans at the assembly. We've prepared a global tour to showcase our planet's environments. Over the next week, Yuna's team visited human settlements across Earth. They saw research stations in Antarctica, where humans worked in temperatures that would kill most council species. They observed villages in the Sahara where children played, in heat that would dehydrate a Vraxian in hours. These variations would cause extinction-level events on most worlds, Minho commented as they sampled alpine air. Yet humans have adapted to live in all of them. In underwater research facilities, They watched humans hold their breath for minutes while diving. In mountain communities, they saw people thriving at elevations where oxygen was scarce. Their adaptability is unlike anything we've seen, Una told her team as they gathered data. Most species specialize for specific environments. Humans generalize, allowing them to survive almost anywhere. The most shocking discovery came when researcher Jin analyzed Earth's geological history. Council leader, Jin reported, her voice trembling. This planet has experienced 5 mass extinction events, each wiped out between 70% and 95% of all species. And yet life continued, Una finished, including the ancestors of humans. The team visited natural history museums studying the fossil record. The evidence was clear. Earth was what galactic scientists classified as a death world, a planet so hostile and unstable that evolving sentient life there was considered theoretically impossible. Look at these predators, gasped researcher Suk, studying images of prehistoric Earth. Enormous creatures with teeth designed solely for killing, and humans evolved alongside them with no natural weapons. The human guides explained how Earth's high oxygen levels had once enabled gigantic insects, how regular asteroid impacts had reset evolution multiple times, how the planet's magnetic field occasionally reversed completely, how supervolcanoes periodically covered continents in ash. And humans adapted to all of this? Asked Minho incredulously. Not just adapted, Dr. Han replied. We thrived because of it. Natural selection pushed us to develop our most important adaptation, our brains. When you can't outrun predators or survive environmental changes through specialized biology, you must outsmart them. On their final night on Earth, Una sat with her team reviewing their findings. Their conclusion was unanimous and disturbing. Humans weren't weak at all. Their apparent physical limitations, hairlessness, minimal strength, lack of natural weapons, were actually sophisticated adaptations to Earth's brutal conditions. Their sweating system allows heat regulation superior to any species we know, noted Jin. Their endurance evolved from persistence hunting, literally chasing prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. Their digestive systems can process almost anything, added Suk. Most council species would die from eating what humans consider normal food. And their social cooperation, Minho said thoughtfully. That's perhaps their most powerful adaptation. They survived by working together. Una nodded, finalizing her report to the council. We've been judging them by completely wrong standards. These aren't hairless apes playing with technology. These are hyper-adapted survivors of one of the most hostile evolutionary crucibles in the galaxy. As their ship lifted off from Earth the next morning, heading back to report their findings, the council scientists looked down at the seemingly peaceful blue planet with new respect and a hint of fear. What would these Death World survivors do once they ventured into the relatively benign wider galaxy? Please remember to include appropriate citations if your response draws from the web search results. Commander. Day stormed into the council chamber, his scaled skin flushed a deep orange in anger. The scientific expedition's findings about Earth had spread quickly through the assembly, causing many species to change their view of humans. This infuriated Day. These reports are clearly flawed, he announced to the gathered council members. I refuse to believe that these soft, hairless creatures deserve our respect. Science Counselor Una stood calmly, facing him. The data is clear, Commander. Earth is classified as a death world. Its environmental conditions are more extreme than 95% of inhabited planets. Numbers on screens prove nothing, Day hissed. I propose a real test of their abilities. The chamber grew quiet as Dai explained his challenge. Teams of humans would compete against representatives from various council races in survival tests on 5 different planets with harsh conditions. The goal was to navigate dangerous terrain, locate resources and reach extraction points. If these Death World survivors are truly special, Day said with a sneer, let them prove it outside their home environment. Captain Quan led the human team. A former military officer with survival experience, she had been part of the delegation to the Galactic Assembly. With her were 4 specialists, Sun, a biologist, Jin, a security expert, Hana, an engineer, and Minho, a doctor. The first Challenge Planet was glacious, an ice world with temperatures far below freezing. As the teams were dropped off at different starting points, Quan gathered her team. "Remember your training," she said, checking their minimal survival gear. "We adapt, we overcome." The alien competitors, including 2 Vraxians, a gas-breathing Axolian and 3 other species, had expected the humans to falter immediately in the extreme cold. Instead, the human team moved efficiently, using techniques developed in Earth's polar regions. "Conserve body heat," Quan instructed. "Move steadily but don't sweat. Jin, check for safe ice. Sun, any edible organisms under the snow?" While the alien teams struggled with the cold, the humans made steady progress. By the second day, 3 alien competitors had already signaled for emergency extraction, their bodies unable to handle the temperature. The second challenge took place on Pyrrhus, a volcanic world with toxic air and extreme heat. The humans sweat profusely, but maintained their pace while the remaining alien competitors slowed significantly. "Their bodies are releasing water through their skin," observed a council monitor. "It's cooling them efficiently." During this challenge, one of the Vraxian competitors, Officer Wren, became trapped when a section of unstable ground collapsed beneath him. The nearest team was the humans, who heard his distress call. "We should keep moving," suggested Jin. "He's our competition." Quan shook her head. "We never leave anyone behind. That's how we survived on Earth." The humans changed direction, risking valuable time to reach the trapped Vraxian. Using techniques developed for Earth's cave rescues, they extracted Wren from the crevice. The Vraxian was confused by their assistance. "Why help me?" he asked as Quan bandaged his injured leg. "I would not have done the same." "Because on Earth," she replied simply, "we learned that cooperation beats competition when survival is at stake." The third challenge was the most difficult. Gravitas, a world with 1.8 times standard gravity. Even the humans struggled here, but their experience with Earth's stronger-than-average gravity gave them an advantage. While the alien competitors needed frequent rest periods, the humans maintained a slow but steady pace. On the 4th day, as they approached the extraction point, they found the remaining Axolian competitor collapsed from exhaustion, unable to move in the crushing gravity. Without hesitation, Minho began medical treatment while the others constructed a makeshift stretcher. "We'll carry him," Quan decided. "That will slow us down," Jin pointed out. "We might lose." "We might," Quan agreed, "but we'll finish together." The human team carried the alien the final distance, reaching the extraction point hours after the only other remaining team, Days Vraxians. But their act of sacrifice was witnessed by millions across the Galactic Assembly, who had been watching the challenge through monitoring drones. Back at the assembly station, Commander Day waited with a smug expression as the humans arrived last. "You?" "See," he told the council. "They failed the test." Council Leader Bin stood slowly. "Did they?" "The purpose of this challenge was to determine the true nature of human capabilities. What we witnessed was not just physical endurance, but something perhaps more valuable, the ability to cooperate, to help others, even at personal cost." Science Counselor Yuna added, "This behavior explains how humans survived on their death world, not through individual strength alone, but through group cooperation." Commander Day's scales flushed darker as he realized his challenge had backfired. Instead of humiliating the humans, he had highlighted their unique strengths. "The challenge is not complete," he said stiffly. "There are still 2 planets remaining." "No need," replied Leader Bin. "We have seen enough to make our assessment." As the council members filed out, Officer Wren approached Captain Quan. The Vraxian's typical arrogance was missing. "Your team lost the competition to help others," he said, sounding puzzled. "Yet somehow you don't seem defeated." Quan smiled. "On Earth, survival isn't about being first. It's about making sure everyone makes it through the storm." The grandee. Council chamber fell silent as the members took their seats. Representatives from 37 advanced civilizations gathered to reassess humanity's classification within the galactic community. The human delegation, Dr. Han, Captain Quan, and their team, sat in a small section previously designated for developing species. Commander Day entered last, his scaled skin a muted green rather than its usual bright orange. The survival challenges had not gone as he planned. Instead of proving human weakness, they had demonstrated unexpected strengths. Council Leader Bin opened the session. Today we review our assessment of Species 4927, known as humans from planet Earth. Science Counselor Yuna will present her expedition's findings. Yuna stepped forward. The holographic display behind her activated, showing Earth in all its blue and green beauty. "Honored Council members," she began, "our expedition to Earth has revealed something extraordinary. This planet is not the paradise we assumed would be necessary for such physically limited beings to evolve. It is, in fact, the opposite." The display changed to show dramatic images: massive hurricanes, erupting volcanoes, raging wildfires, flash floods, and blizzards. Earth is what our scientific classification system defines as a death world, a planet with such extreme and variable conditions that the evolution of sentient life there was considered theoretically impossible. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Most council members had never encountered a death world species before. Earth's gravity is 1.3 times our standard. Its atmosphere contains oxygen levels that would be considered dangerously combustible on most worlds. Its temperature ranges from 50 to plus 150 units in different regions simultaneously. It experiences regular extinction-level events, including ice ages, supervolcanoes, and asteroid impacts. The display showed prehistoric Earth and its terrifying predators. Humans evolved alongside apex predators that would terrify most of us. Their planet has experienced 5 mass extinction events, each killing between 70% and 95% of all species. Yuna paused to let this information sink in. What we perceived as weaknesses in humans are actually sophisticated adaptations to these conditions: their lack of fur, an adaptation for heat regulation through sweating, their seemingly weak muscles, designed for endurance rather than burst strength, their lack of natural weapons, compensated for by tool use and cooperative hunting. Commander Day stood abruptly. "If what you say is true, why have we never encountered death world species before? Surely they would be prevalent in the galaxy." A small alien with silvery skin touched a control panel. Ancient historical records appeared on the display. "We have, Commander," said the historian. 3 previous civilizations evolved on death worlds. Each rose quickly to become galactic powers. Each expanded rapidly, and each eventually collapsed after periods of aggressive expansion. The chamber grew tense. Our historical records show that the founders of the current Galactic Council established policies to identify and contain death world species early. Over generations, this became an unconscious bias against primitive physiologies. Dr. Han stood, his expression calm. "You feared us before you even knew us." "With reason," the historian replied. Death world species tend to expand aggressively into what they perceive as easier environments. Captain Quan joined Dr. Han. "You misunderstand us. Earth taught us cooperation, not conquest. When everything on your planet is trying to kill, you learn to work together." Science Counselor Yuna nodded. "The challenges demonstrated this. While physically capable, it was the humans' cooperative behavior that truly distinguished them. They sacrificed competitive advantage to help others." Commander Day's scales darkened as he struggled with this new understanding. Finally, he stepped forward. "I was wrong," he admitted, the words clearly difficult. "What we saw as weakness was strength of a different kind. Their hairlessness, their sweating, their endurance, their social bonds, these are not primitive traits but advanced adaptations to conditions most of us would not survive." He turned to face the human delegation directly. "You helped my officer when he was trapped, despite our previous mockery. No Vraxian would have done the same for a competitor." The council chamber remained quiet as Leader Bin stood again. "Based on these findings, I propose we reclassify humans as a survivor species with all the rights and responsibilities that entails. They will move from Tier 3 to Tier 2 status immediately." The motion passed unanimously. After the session ended, the human delegation prepared to return to Earth. News of their reclassification would be transmitted ahead of them. Humanity would soon learn they were not alone in the universe and that they had earned respect among the stars. Commander Day approached them before they boarded their ship. "There is something I don't understand," he said. "Now that you know how harsh your world is compared to others, aren't you angry? Don't you resent evolving in such dangerous conditions?" Dr. Han smiled. "Earth may be harsh, but it's home. It made us who we are." Captain Kwan added, "Besides, Commander, now we get to explore your paradise worlds. Think of it as a well-earned vacation." As the human ship departed the assembly station, council members watched on tracking displays, some with concern, others with curiosity, but all with newfound respect. "Do you think they'll become like the others?" an aide asked Leader Bin. "The previous Death World species." Bin considered this. Perhaps, but they seem different somehow. They value cooperation over competition. They help others even at cost to themselves. "Time will tell," said Science Counselor Yuna, "but I believe the galaxy just became much more interesting." On their journey home, the humans gazed out at the stars with new understanding. The galaxy that had once seemed so threatening now looked inviting. And somewhere on that small blue planet, billions of humans went about their daily lives, not yet knowing that their harsh home had prepared them for greatness among the stars.